Hey guys, we're talking about representing linear equations here. Representing linear equations. And I'm going to talk to you first about going from standard format to slope-intercept format. Then I'll talk about the table of values. Then we'll talk about how to graph it. Then we'll talk about the intercepts. Okay, so the first one is 2x minus y is equal to minus 2. And that is in standard form. So here, I'm just going to put 2x minus y equals minus 2 in standard form. And I want to get it to be into this slope-intercept format. Okay, now slope-intercept format is always going to be y equals m x plus b. Now, this m here is always going to represent the slope of the line. This x is all x's, this y is all y's, and this b is your y-intercept. And you can usually go from standard format, which is having your x and your y somewhere on the left side of the equation, and equaling some value. Okay, so that would be all your variables on one side equaling a value. That would be standard format. And it's pretty easy to go from here to here. You just have to isolate your y and do some algebra. So the first thing that you're going to notice if you want to isolate that y and do some algebra is you got to get rid of your 2x. So let's take here this 2x and let's minus a 2x on this side here. And then golden rule of algebra, if you did it here to get rid of it, you have to do it on the other side of the equality symbol. Okay, so minus 2x over here. And these will cancel on this side. Let's fill in the rest of the equation. And so we still here on this side have a minus y. You still have your equal symbol. You still have this constant of minus 2 here. Okay, so when I rewrite that after doing that step of moving this 2x to this side, I get minus y is equal to minus 2 minus 2x. Okay, now you might notice the x is here and your plus b is here. So I'm going to just quickly take this and move it so that the x is on this side and your 2 is on the other side of that x. So it would still be minus y, and then it would be equal minus 2x minus 2. Same thing. These two things are the same thing. I moved it so it would look like this, so we could recognize that part of it, okay? So now I have to just get rid of one more thing. And that one thing is get rid of this negative here. To do that, I can just multiply the whole thing, both sides, times minus 1. This one too, times minus 1. Okay, so then when I rewrote it, and here, when I rewrite it, it's going to be in this form now. So I have, same as that form here, I have your y, and it equals to Now I'm taking that minus 1 and I'm timesing it through, so I get this to be 2x plus 2. Now, interestingly here, I have a minus 1 and I'm multiplying it through, so I take that minus 1 and I times that, and I get a positive 2. And I'm taking that minus 1 and I'm timesing it by that 2x and getting a positive 2 again. So y is 2x plus 2. That's that first part. That's going from standard form to slope-intercept form. That's going from here to here. So then I would write in this part here the answer I just found, which would be y is equal to 2x plus 2. Okay? Now I go on to my table of values. Easiest way to do the table of values is right in here. Okay. So, for 0 as my y, what is my x? Is my question here. So I put a 0 in for my y, and I find out what x is. Now, here we go. Let's do it this way. Putting 2x minus y equals minus 2. And what I will be doing here is putting a 0 in for y. 2x minus 2. Okay, and that's easy. That's nothing. So I take this 2x equals minus 2. Excellent. Now to get your x by yourself, you're gonna want to divide this part by 2, like that. And again, golden rule of algebra, what you do on one side of the equation, you must do on the other side. So I divide this by 2. All right. So then you'd end up with x is equal to minus 1. Because 2 minus 1 divided by 2 is still going to be a negative, and it's going to be a negative 1. So here, 4, y equals 0, x equals minus 1. All right? So then here in the table, I would fill in x equals minus 1. Now, let's quickly do for x equals 0. So we have 2 times 0 minus y equals minus 2. Now when 2 is multiplied by 0, you get 0. So you get here minus y equals minus 2. To get rid of that negative, you divide this by an invisible negative 1, and you have to divide this by an invisible negative 1, or multiply it by negative 1. Either way, because that divided by negative 1 gets rid of that negative, gets rid of that negative. So you get here y is equal to 2. Doesn't matter if you divide it by minus 1 or if you times it by minus 1, you're still going to get that here. So for x equals 0, y equals 2. So plug that in your chart here and continue. Plug in, instead of the 0 here, plug in a 1. Instead of the 0 here, plug in a minus 3. Instead of the 0 here, plug in the 3. And then take those points, that x and y point, and plot them. And see the line you get. I will go through that part in the next video.